There are signs everywhere. When you see them, follow them. 109. Pick up your copy today.
Let's keep it real short and sweet. All right, I'm gonna keep this very short and sweet, all right? I moved to South Korea and I discovered that 10/9 was a national holiday. 10/9. 10 October, 9 the 9th day of October, 10/9. 10/9 was a national holiday in Korea. Remember that. I traveled to Tokyo, Japan, and I discovered that 10/9 is a very special number in Japan. 10/9. All right, 109, right? 109. But for my sake, 10/9. So 10/9 is a very special number in Japan. I went to Cuba, Havana, Cuba, and I was reading a book about Che Guevara. And in the first few pages, I learned that he was captured and then he was killed on 10/9, October 9th, 10/9. Okay. I used to wake up at 10/9. That's not actually a time, but 10:09 is a time and 1:09 is also a time. All right, so I used to wake up at those hours and I didn't know why. I just happened to wake up at those hours. It's like when you look at your clock at 11:11, 12:12, 1:11, 2:22, and you say, hey, that's cool. Or you make a wish and you think, wow, that's a cool number. When it happened to me, it was at that time, 10/9, 10:09 or 1:09. When Nipsey was murdered, I was driving to work and I saw a license plate. There were only two cars on the road, my car and the truck. And this truck cut me off and he made me angry. But I looked at his license plate and I saw the numbers 10/9. The license plate was 1090, but I saw 10/9. And then finally, when I went to the bathroom at Addis Ababa University in Ethiopia, as I was walking to the bathroom, I saw the numbers 10/9 on a door, written on a door. And then I figured I had a story to tell because there were too many coincidences, too many times when I saw these numbers. And I just said, you know what, I have to tell this story. So that's why you need to pick up my book. You need to check out 10/9 and figure out what this 10/9 is all about. Peace. A day in the life of a legend named Larry. I've got coincidences to talk about, don't be scary. And because I saw an omen, you might think I'm joking, but I don't really care. It's just something that I noticed. Now this is how I do this when checking a grip. All these instances are spooky. Please don't trip. 10/9, Law 2 is how my car's license plate used to look. Pockets empty, no job in LA, it was time to book. I traveled overseas, arriving at a new country, hopped off the plane, got handed some house keys, settled down, and got started earning a salary. Come to find out, my birthday is a national holiday. 10/9 on my mind. I was fine, I thought, until I started waking at 10/9 on the dot. Multiple times, then it hit me. These numbers keep coming to visit me. Even when I bought a train or plane ticket, my seat would be 10 or 9, respectively. It was even my group number, which I thought was assigned randomly. Cut to the day at Addis Ababa University, learning Ethiopian history. I went to the bathroom on the second floor. Yep, you guessed it, 10/9 was written on the door. Even my cousin Anwar told me to connect with Inca spirits in Peru. He said, at Machu Picchu, ancestral spirits will greet you. I ascended Montaña Machu Picchu that morning around 8, took a look around, enjoying the view. Great. Checked my watch, it read 10:08. I knew the spirits were telling me to make my descent, so a minute later I did to stay within tradition. While in Havana, Cuba one night, I read about Ernesto Che Guevara de la Serna's life. Imagine the sight when I read that he was captured on the 8th of October and on 10/9 lost his life. In Saudi Arabia, hailed a cab, and when it came near, the license plate started with 10/9, and it had me feeling weird. If anything, I could say that this cab was rare, but I thought, nah, forget it. Yo, Holmes, I'm not scared. I began to think these coincidences were signs. Why else would a man's death coincide on the same week as is celebrated Muhammad's rise? In other words, that same week, Muslims celebrated Muhammad's ascension to heaven. It's funny how every 7 days leading up, I was greeted by a new revelation. 28 days earlier, Ethiopians felt elated. That day, the 123rd anniversary of the Battle of Adwa was celebrated. 21 days earlier, and Ethiopian feelings turned to deflated. That day, Ethiopian Airline Flight 302 was annihilated. 14 days earlier, I posted a picture of a goat to IG. Since it disrespected me by stepping on my new blue lace Nike sneaks, I felt like bugging out from Do the Right Thing. 7 days earlier, in an IG photo I posted, I wore one sock on my right foot while laying in a tent eating Oreos while reading a book. Yes, these are a lot of mundane details, but well, one day upon reflection, I tell you all these details connected to reveal a vision that became clear. It was also that fateful day the world received news it didn't want to hear. On March 31st, for all of y'all in LA, but I was 11 hours ahead, already into the next day. I awoke and checked IG to realize a friend who rarely posts photos had posted a photo. To my surprise, I read the caption and began to cry. That was how I learned that he died. After learning his fate, I still had to drive to work, but I felt homesick, thousands of miles away, and I wanted to get back to LA really quick. The streets were empty, except for me and this one truck. Do you know this mofo cut me off like, what the? It was the start of a difficult week, but something told me to be easy. A calmness washed over me when I noticed that same truck's license plate read 1090. I knew then it was meant for me to be and see in that space at that time, precisely. 7 days later, I kid you not, an omen appeared in the sky. There were chemtrails up there. Don't ask me why. Overhead in Oman's former capital, Nizwa, few planes fly overhead, if ever, so the sight of chemtrails above was irregular. It wasn't the lines that had me at a word loss. Rather, 'twas the sight of the lines forming a cross. Let me attempt to surmise. Stranger than fiction, his first name means God will rise. Coincidentally, him and Jesus dying at the same age, 33, seems eerie. Oman borders Yemen, which is home to an ancient biblical kingdom, from which his last name traces back to Aksum. Oman, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, specifically Ethiopia and Eritrea, Habesha, once ruled by Makeda. Moses, seeing the burning bush, led to him beginning the exodus of Israelites out of Egypt and into Canaan. 10:9 and that cross have me feeling ancient. Y'all'll think I'm crazy if I tell you to leave LA, board planes, and relocate to Shashemane, Kumasi, or Mekele. But that's okay, because I'm confident in what I say. Islam, Judaism, and Christianity aren't so different. I mean, come on. These religions were birthed from Abraham. Are you aware that Jesus is mentioned more than Muhammad in the Quran? Professor John Henrik Clark sparked my thoughts on religiosity. He suggested putting religion down to increase spirituality. And like Rastafarians believe that Haile Selassie was Yahshua ben Yosef's reincarnation, I believe that man was a deity trapped in human form. Of course, I'm probably just famished. searching for meaning because I'm lost. But I'll be damned if anybody tells me he wasn't a boss. He actually demonstrated what to do, helped his people, and mastered knowledge of self. It's evident in his philosophy about gaining wealth. My colleague, Rochelle, said she didn't want to hear me talk about 10-9 anymore. She said 10 and 9 are everywhere, and I believed her, especially when I went to Japan's Apple store. There, every device is set to the same score. However, when the first friend you make after the first international trip you take shares the same birthday, you wonder anyway. Plus, 1 week after posting that picture to IG, I saw that video of the fireman carrying him out on a gurney. Surprised, to say the least, when I noticed that he was wearing one sock on his left foot. I felt shook. 7 days before his body went limp, I was wearing one sock on my right foot, eating Oreos in my tent.